Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a kind of rainbow-ish card to show you. So I'm going to start off with these 6 colors here, and I have these Octagon dies. Now they come in all these different sizes. I think there's 8 dies to this set, but I am going to use these smallest 2 for this card. So obviously for these cardstocks, I have pulled them from everywhere in my stash. I just kind of wanted a really nice mix of colours. Then I have this tape here. This is kind of like low-tack tape, from AliExpress, and I'll try and link it down below if you are interested. And I'm just lining it up so that I have half of each of the octagons kind of masked off. You could definitely use any kind of sort of post-it notes or any kind of low-tack tape here, some masking tape, anything that will cover up half of the shape. That's what I'm aiming for. And so I have just gone through and chosen a Distress Oxide ink that is hopefully slightly darker than each of the colors that I've chosen. I just want there to be a difference, a really clear difference. And I think in some of them I kind of ended up choosing lighter a little bit, but it didn't matter as long as it was kind of different to what the color of the cardstock already was. So I just went through and chose them all, and for the inks I added a really heavy layer. It was like some of them I really saturated the color to make it a nice difference. I think in the end some of them you can definitely see better than others, but nonetheless. I have this border die here, which I think was from Ali, but I can't remember. If it is, I'll link it down below. And then I have this sunshine stamp set here. This one is definitely from Ali, as are the Octagon dies that I showed you earlier. And I'm just going to stamp my little sentiment. I'm going to actually end up heat embossing it. So I have my embossing pad here, my embossing ink, and I'm just going to stamp it on and then cover it with a little bit of bright gold wow embossing powder. So it says your ray of sunshine. And then that's actually my card base that I'm just quickly using to catch all the leftovers. And then I'm just going to melt the embossing powder with my heat gun. This design of this card you could definitely use with almost any shape. I mean, squares, circles, triangles, all of them would really work. It's just that I had these new dies, the Octagon dies, and so I wanted to use them on a card. So here you can see I have all of the shapes ready to go. I'm just going to cut a wee angle because I think I want my sentiment to roughly go about there. And then here I'm just going to fuss with the shapes to see where I want the layout to kind of be. I was trying to make sure that they kind of lined up with the edges of the octagons, if you know what I mean. But I wanted all of the direction of the kind of stripe, shall I call it, to be going in different directions. So I didn't want them all to be facing the same way. Then I'm just going to add some foam squares. These foam squares are from Ali as well, and I'm adding 4 to the back of each one to make it nice and stable, and I'm going to pop them down just in the exact pattern that I had laid out earlier. Now, I definitely lost some footage coming up in a minute, and I'm really sorry about that. It is super frustrating when you are filming, when you think you're recording and you're not, but that's okay. As I said, I'm just going to go through and make sure that these are all facing a different direction, a little bit of foam tape on the back of the sentiment as well, and then the footage that I lost is where I end up putting these smaller hexagons on top of these larger ones. Now all I did was I put the kind of color stripe the opposite direction of what I already had down for the larger octagon. So I think that makes sense. You can see in the photos that yeah, it kind of looks like the lighter should be opposite the other light side and the dark should be opposite the other dark side. So hopefully that makes sense. They're popped up on foam dots as well, so there's a second layer of foam squares behind the smaller octagons, and that is my card for today. Super simple, popped up onto a 110-pound Nina Solar White card base. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, you can do this with lots of different shapes, so give it a go. I'm adding a little bit of Morning Dew Nuvo Drops, which dries crystal clear and just adds that finishing touch. I hope I see you on the next card. Thanks for joining me. Bye.